particular word. Just say it and do what you see. You call it and do what. We did this in our hospital. I just called the besides say this one we want. He said it. I said we're going to do abakada. I mean your guy watch. And all the things were people that wish your guy has done. I just my guy just called me something. When you tell I will practicalize. Normally January is always you know that we don't want January to do this. We don't want to start to go this year. Last year it took us like 3 4 months to enter. This year we want to start from here. So we just say abakada. Let's exactly the same word every day, every week, and this things will come. So if you are learning these words, as long as you work them. If you don't work them, you just come and say, you'll be frustrated. You know it's going to be frustrated. If after 10, 15 years, 40 years, your life will make you'll be frustrated. It's normal. But you have to put yourself at the steering of your life and say, I'm here, mark it. And move to another level. Let me tell you, every word I come here is last year and serious. Have a target, like I teach you target have to come. So that makes me to work harder. Because when I like, when everybody is talking about millions, I don't want to see talking of 10 million, talking of 200,000. Never. So please, let's join. Please, open to all of us. You don't need anything. Just tell yourself, I'm ready. And give it back. So today is another one. I know if you know you can come here and have gained anything here, this one. Because there are people that feel, I told you, don't be like me. It took me like 3 4 years before I give you. I will come. See this thing, look. Go back. Please don't waste your time. Start from now. It works. Hello? It works. So how many people want to know plus to share their experience? It's not possible. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, General Gbolahan.
Good afternoon.
It's always a good time to come out like this and share one or two things I've learned over the years. I've been coming to this academy for the past 11 years. And when I joined and I got exposed to all this affirmation, goal setting, and all that, the first book I got was How to Build a Great Life, that goal setting book. And I followed through, I wrote so many things, and I can share some of those things with you now after 11 years to say they have come to pass. The Lord encouraged me and most time and come to pass. The first one I will mention is the fact that, of course, I want to have my own business. And today now, I have two great businesses. And it's doing well, employing people, and impacting the society. The second one I want to share is that when I was serving, that was when I met Dr. Abu, and that was 11 years ago. I fiancé them. I said, let's go to this seminar. And from there, we're able to set some goals together. And one of the goals came to pass. Last early this year, we did a PhD convocation. So it was one of the goals, and we keep working. No people will be asking us, how are you providing family with 2 kids, with work, got the PhD, and all that? Some ladies believe that once you are married, it's like 50% of your dream has flown away. But with coming here, we can, coming here to reinforce some of the goals we have set. And another thing I discovered that since I've been coming here, I discovered that this is the only place where I will come to that I will receive some kind of energy for my mission without paying Every other place I will go to, I will pay. I will pay. But here we receive instruction, we be in fact, there is one-on-one section, there is one that is coming now. I don't know how many of us that have paid for that. So there is nothing we need that we don't have here. Another thing I want to also mention is networking. Networking. As we are seated here, with the people I know, you don't know them. The people you know, I don't know them. I want to say that I met somebody here that she has announced me to different people in the world. Yes, I met her. So the first day she came to present, Dr. Abibu invited her because I'm talking about this Bibi Amapa. He came and delivered a presentation, and I look at all the presentation. I said, "This is what I'm doing. I've been doing things online and all that." So I just walked up to her and said, "This thing that you are saying is what I'm doing, and I would love you to mentor me the more on it." And I just gave her one small part. What the money I had that time in my pocket was like 2,000 naira. I just packaged it and said, "This is for you." I said, "She had not received something like this before." And she just gave me a contact. So many people came that day. I was the only one that received her contact. And since that time till now, in fact, last year, there are some places that she just said, "Go and meet him." And I did presentation on her behalf, and it was fantastic. The other one I also did was that I launched my agri business. It's called remote agri. We want to ensure that the food we have in the nation, the quality is reducing. People have to go back to farm. And so many people cannot leave their job to go back to farm. So let's go to farm on your behalf. So we launched it in less than 3 months. In fact, the kind of info that we received for the farming activity was massive. But from here, just one person that just got to know about it become our highest investment. And the funniest thing, the person came to this seminar for the first time that day. Yes. Maximize the energy we have here, and God help us. Thank you.
As when you call them, see what? Because I one of our mentors told us that when you give, I want to give next 5 years. Your books will be around. Most of your neighbors are gossipers. They are busybodies. You come here, you find a new set of neighbors. You see a new set of network that are going somewhere. These things go together. So you have talked about those work. Recently, I was doing some related in one life, and that's someone check I wrote. One time, that check I wrote some mathematical project. I was just looking at that time, that one looked like this one. And I saw it. I do it to myself. I write a check. I say, okay, by the end of this year, I write some amount of check for myself. I think that time I wrote it 10 also. So as I was now, I just saw it. Things changed so fast. That time, that was all I wanted. Because I wanted to buy a property that time. So all this is it was Mrs. Lydia Papa that told us to write the check for ourselves. Even told us that he told us to get a billion. I don't know how many of us have a billion naira check. I will have to do another one. I will talk to you, do another one. We need to add. So every day you look at it. One day to come. I'm very sure. I thank God for the energy. Thank God for the workshop. This workshop, please, Lagos people was here. Most of the people I have been getting are people that are not even coming to and the one that is not people they want to come. But before I start bringing them in, I want to be sure I brought some for Abeokuta. I'm scared of bringing people to Lagos. I don't want us to take our post. Are we interested? But we need it. How many of us are planning to come? You cannot miss it. What I say? I said, somebody have been a road before, that person is following you. Know how lucky you are. He will tell you, this express, I don't go there, oh, that will be low where. This road, I don't find yourself. How I like this our mentor is that it give you billions of peace of mind. Some people have few hundreds, some of our friends have few hundred million. I see their life. Because they are moving from crisis to crisis. Just for, but if you follow the mentor we use here, you have what? Peace. Which money? So please join us. I want one more person to, because our time is fast. Just one person there. Teacher will come and give us. Let's clap for it.
Good day, everyone. Um, I would like to share my little story. I've shared this several times, but I will tell you that I'm never tired of sharing it. I came across this training by lodging into one of his hotels. I had something to do in the background, and I had to lodge at the Old Pharaoh, the Gbolahan Hotel. A friend recommended the place actually. I was looking for somewhere close to Fashion. So after lodging, that time happened to be a time the hotel was doing profit sharing with staff. So that day, the excitement, the happiness, and everything on the basis of the staff of the hotel got me curious. And I went to meet them. What are you celebrating? Share with me, jokingly. And they said it was their profit sharing day. Profit sharing staff. Yeah, and I want to hear. Those ladies told me everything that transpired. And that got me curious. And they mentioned his name. When they told me his name, of course, I went back to my room. I think I stayed for 2 nights. I went back to my room, started Googling words. I wasn't satisfied. I went back to the ladies, asked them if there was a certain way his name is written. We all have different ways we write our names. With all due respect, sir. I know you are Abib, but people write Abib different ways. Abib will be the one that comes with H, and that chart, I went back and how his name is written online, which I now started checking. At that time, they gave me a pamphlet that talks about him. That killed me. Because my next step was, how did he go from being a medical doctor? And funny enough, the day I asked him, he said they both have hospitality in the two, which is true, but I took that as a serious goal. Anyway, I started reading about him. Before I got him, I started looking for him on social media handles. I got him, started him on Facebook, started him on Instagram, until one day that he responded to one of my chats. So after responding, he invited me to this training for the month of October 2022, which was the first one I attended, and the very first day I met him. He told me he would be the one presenting there, so I went to meet him. But since that time, you can ask me, I don't let him rest. Any issues I have, especially after business, I will run to him. And also, I would say that a major lesson for me for joining this class, and the reason why I will not miss any more for any reason. I can't wait, but I will be there. I do business, I make money, but I didn't know that making money has other dimensions. Yes, I know about savings, but I didn't know so many things I've learned there. And I will say, God bless you, doctor. God bless you, Dr. Yusuf. And God bless you too, Dr. Gbolahan. You see these people, apart from him, I attach myself to them. So that when I have questions that I don't want to bother him, I go to the two of them. One basic lesson for me, I learned to invest the right way. When you are saving money, you are not investing money, you are wasting your money. And you are dashing the bank the money. Why would you save where the money is not doing anything? And be putting, no, by the time you get to know about it, They remove some charges, SNS, and all those nonsense that is annoying. Some that you cannot even trace. So why would I not put my money where it can work for me? So it is not enough to make money and save money, but you have to do it the right way. And God bless you, Dr. Gbolahan. The day you sent me that chart, there was a table that he sent to me on compound interest. Believe me, sister, you see that and you will not be able to see. Thank you very much.
Let me do as but as the
Yes.
last
Just 1 minute. I want to thank God for Dr. Adi. I just came back from competition, and thank God that I'm able to make it here. He wrote a book on how to create a business that work. Yeah, I read that book the first time. I wasn't able to pick much. But when they started posting it on the platform and I was reading it in pieces, I was able to make a lot more sense out of it. And God has expanded us from one to three.
first class of the before today again, we are going to be taught how to millionaire mindset. It means all of us have there's a hardware, it's our hardware. The software needs to be upgraded. And today we're going to be told how to upgrade our software so that our mindset keeps to that millionaire status. I know we have said here we don't run after money. Hello? I know we are still after money. Please make up your mind. Give with us. How many people want to be is going with us? Don't come and be wasting your life alone. But you are going with us. Let's use this journey together. It's an interesting journey. When money comes looking for you, it's not you running after money. It's a way to do it like, oh, let's start looking after running after money. Your people start going up. Stress will increase. You don't want to exchange those people. When money comes to you, you sit down there and ask for. There's a way to do it. And our teacher is prepared to put us through. And as long as I've said, I'll keep saying it, the principle works. If you do what? Like, just work. They told you, and it will be all of us, we've done exam before. Your teacher came in the exam. And this word is so sweet. There's past questions. So when I told you that these questions are going to ask you, it's not the right for you to now go and do another thing. You want to pass? You want to pass? They are going to give us a scope of life. It's also a scope of life. Just still with that scope. That is majority. Major on the major, and the rest 5 10 is smiling at the billions for me. Thank you for coming. I will call on the next person to introduce. So, okay, let me introduce my brother. Yeah, our teacher, we all know him. I was is we all know he's an exceptional doctor. He's healthy of 2 big hospitals. What I like him is that anytime I have problem, I will send my girls to his hospital. And he's a nice person. I just say, look, my girls are coming. There's something we're struggling with. They're coming to your place again. If those people come, go just spend 3 days in his hospital, and then they come back. Their mentality has changed. And he's an amazing person. And he's not going to teach you what you read. There's even if somebody teach you what you read, it's good to teach you what he's doing, what is working for him, and what he has seen work. And please, he's a medical doctor. He has a lot of certification in the global health. He's a mentor, he's a teacher, and today he's going to deliver for us. You are going to be marvelous people. Welcome and amazing exceptional Dr. Yusuf.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You may have your seat. Good afternoon, generals, billionaires. I think we can actually close at this point with all those testimonies we heard, very honestly. And I might use some of your stories as examples while we go on. I think we can close. But you don't want to go. Go. Wow. Okay, so while they were talking, when I was medical student, medical doctor, so I went to medical school. And in the first 100 level, when you do the sciences, you most likely got all A's and all. Then you get into 200 level and start anatomy, biochemistry, and physiology. And some people, for the first time in their life, they fail a test. Sometimes, some of us, the first time we're ever going to fail anything is 200 level. Maybe your first physiology test or your first biochemistry test or anatomy. And then there's a problem because there are two sets of people. Some people will look at that and it will be a severe shock. They will be so shocked that they will not recover from it. I know a story of someone who, amongst the medical students from 100 level, had the highest GPA, but did not graduate with that class. He repeated into the next class. The difference is, one, a set of us, we all saw that we failed and realized that the dance has to change. Because the tactics that got us to that point cannot continue. Why some people are so shocked, they don't know how to handle it. Had a doctor reach out to me, I think 2 years ago. He had tried to travel, and then it didn't work out. And then he was at a crossroad. He didn't know what to do. He called me and said so many times, okay, come, we went out for lunch. I said, order something. He said he's not hungry. And I actually thought I was not hungry. I did not know that the problem that brought him there was more than food. But I told him only one thing, and I asked him about his life history. And all throughout life, even medical school, he was a top student. He had never faced rejection once in his life. So he tried to japa. They did not accept him. And then there lies trouble. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Another story, this is my own story. So we passed part 1 MD, then we got to clinical school. Now in clinical school, you go on the round with the consultants. Then they ask you 10 things that causes anemia. We were all there. Sometimes you pray you're in front if the question is easy. And sometimes you wish you are the last person if it's hard. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But I was baffled that we will mention 3 and we are stuck. And the consultants will go on and mention 10, 15, or the senior registrars. I will go home and think about it. I'll think about my life. But do you know where I said, there's nothing special? Was when I thought about it. This consultant was once a medical student. He learned this thing. He became a doctor, house job. He was still learning the same thing. Then he now went for residency. Of all the parts of medicine, chose one small part. And that's what he's been reading for God knows how long. Why will he not know it all? He's supposed to know 100. I'm telling you, the day I came to that realization, there was nothing special again. I'll just tell myself, not yet. If I don't know it now, it's just not yet. Does not mean I don't know. That they gave me the degree. So you know the end of the story, I passed, right? What am I trying to get out by these stories? Is the fact that how you respond to things is a function of your mindset about it. And the story I told you, the way I thought about my consultants, before I sat down and realized that they've been spending, if not 1 million hours, learning these things. Before then, I thought, these guys are semi-gods, are demigods. No one but them, right? But when I realized that, they spent a long time. And I know if I spend the same length of time, I will know what they know, if not more. My perspective changed. On the world grounds, I no longer suffered. If I don't know it, it is not yet. Sometimes we sit down. I'm still going. There's another story. I didn't plan to tell any of these stories. But as usually happens when they give me the mic, somebody who needs to hear this has pulled it from the universe and then drops in my heart. So this is for somebody. So the same thing, when we started, my journey with Dr. Gbolahan Yusuf started before 110. But when I now came to 110 Academy, I now realized people will come out like Dr. Shodipo has come to, sorry, same first name. I struggle to call him my name, so I call him by his surname. He will come out. Mr. Dayo has come to share his testimony. I will sit down when they are sharing the testimony. See, what day will I be able to share my testimony? But then I told myself that it's like we are all climbing the ladder of success. We are different rungs of the ladder. But the important thing is that we are climbing and we are going. Do you understand? So rather than being discouraged or saying, God, when? Or God, why? The answer is not yet. Do you get what I'm saying? Then the only reason why you can say not yet, the only reason why I was encouraged, because I know that what we're being taught is what I'm practicing. So at least I'm heading towards something. You can't say not yet if after listening to what we talk about and the energy that we generate in this room, you go back and you don't do it. He said he went back to his company and said, let's do abracadabra and let's start saying the things we want. What was their experience? They started to see it. So he also said, we'll be shortchanging ourselves and disgracing not our parents, the universe, disgracing our God when we hear these things and we don't practice it. The truth is, practice it first. Is that okay? Now, when we hear things, what determines if we believe them and we practice them is also our mindset concerning that thing. It's what I call, what is your rule for success? What is your rule for success? In our subconscious, there's a way we have believed success will come. And that guides what we do in our moving towards success. Like he also said, we no longer run after money. The way we grew up is the mindset that we should run after money. When we were young, the occupation, the disciplines that people talk about, if you are not a doctor, you're an accountant, you're a lawyer, you're an engineer. After that, when we were growing up, they did not born any one of us to tell our parents that we want to be musician, or I want to be an actor or an actress or a footballer. But now, if we have people who are not doctors, who are not lawyers, who are not accountants, who are not engineers, but they are people we look up to. Because times changes. And if we have some people, and we also have our president, who is there, and now trying to show us the kind of mind that will get us there, we better listen. The reason why the parents will beat their children, they say all they want to do is sit at home and generate content. Content creator. The reason why one father will beat the child and the other one will encourage the child is also their rule for success. What is your belief? What's the path to success? But what we are talking about today does not have to do with what you are doing. It's really the foundation for success in whatever endeavor you venture in. And that's the mindset of a man or a woman that has built $1 billion enterprise. So, where we're going to is look at strategies that will enable us to think big and achieve success. Because we are not there yet. It might be because, one, we are on the journey, or we have not experienced the transformation that happens within to make you the kind of person that can command $1 billion. So my goal today is how to help each and every one of us to be on that journey of transformation, whereby when you are writing your goals and you are writing $1 billion, your mind is not fighting you. Convert it, multiply it by 1,000. 17, sorry. That's 1.7 trillion naira. I've had that experience before. So a while ago, while I was working, I had my goals, my financial goals and all. And something just prompted me. Convert this your financial goal in naira to dollars. I was very ashamed. I was like, that means the goal is not big enough. What's a $1 billion mindset? And I started talking about this by way of my introduction. The first thing is, see, that mindset thinks beyond personal and business limitations. It's a mindset where there are no boundaries. It's a U squared mindset. How many of us have read that book, U squared? We still have it. So about 50% of people have not read that book in this room. Let's believe that most of them are just hearing for the first time. It's a vision-driven leadership approach. If you are craving $1 billion or craving an enterprise that generates $1 billion, it's not an enterprise you're thinking of for just yourself. Am I right? Yes. Like Mr. Dyer said, they ventured into agriculture. It will fetch him good money. But beyond the money is going to fetch him, he's answering a question of good organic product, especially in a time where you are skeptical of everything you buy. Either it is fruit or Coca-Cola. Do you understand? So his own goal, sorry, I was about to point this at you. His goal is from a mindset that I want to solve a global problem. Yes, please, it deserves a round of applause. So, and that's it. See, it's solving problem at scale. The money you get from your business is based on a few things. Some of them are the problem you are solving. How many people have that problem? How many of them are willing to pay what you are asking for their solution? That's why if we talk about the Jeff Bezos, the Aliko Dangotes, and all of them, and we list their enterprises, they are solving global problems. $20 million, right? To bring up the refinery. Am I right? Billion. $20 billion. It's not because there's just too much money and he wants to put money somewhere. Because he knows that the return on that investment is massive. Because his market is not only Nigeria. When Nigeria was doing tug of war with him, he started talking about other people who will come and pick up the products. Right from even West Africa here. That are ready to buy his products. Not yet. We'll get there, right? So if you have this mindset, you adopt a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. The example of the medical student who was top in 100 level but repeated is the example of someone who has a fixed mindset. He believes that he's brilliant, he's intelligent all his life. Every exam he has written has been about that. The seat of his belief was the result of every exam he wrote. When that result was questioned, he felt that, see, my intelligence can no longer help me. But what a growth mindset person will look at is that, yes, this is how far my intelligence will get me, but I can learn. Do you understand? I can learn, I can grow. So you can't get here without having a growth mindset. Because if every one of them come to tell you their stories, there were times where they failed. There were times where they had setbacks. We have 2 hospitals, but we closed down one hospital before the second hospital. In fact, sometimes I forget. That's where my brain just blocks all those things. We had the hospital, we ran the hospital for 1 year, but in fact, 6 months into it, I said, we didn't do our due diligence. This is not the right place to actually situate this business for our own style of hospital. But you know how everybody say, give it time, everything, give it time. It takes that, like, it goes that way at the beginning. I said, that's not the point. This is not, we can't continue. When it was 11 months, I just told my wife that, see, we need to close this hospital. But then we sat down and wrote everything we did wrong and what we will not do. Like Thomas Edison, we found a way not to start a hospital. So by the time we're starting the second one, we didn't have the issues we had with the first one. I could have also said, maybe my intelligence can only carry one hospital. Maybe it's only even though I automated the hospital, but I can only automate one. I can't automate the second. Let me just sit down here. Do you understand? I'm intentionally linking everything I'm saying to mindset to tell you the power of the mind. We've learned here, with everything created, is created in two places. First in the mind, and then you see it first within, and then without. So another thing I want to say here, especially when I say vision-driven leadership, when you're looking at a vision that solves a global problem, you also have to give it time. Sometimes we are frustrated because you want your vision, like we said, is U squared, but you're not giving it the required time for it to manifest. When we're talking about billion-dollar mindset, billion-dollar entrepreneurs, they set what we call big, hairy, audacious goals. The kind of goals that will make the hair at the back of your neck stand up. Like they say, the goal that will scare you. In fact, if you are setting goals and it does not scare you, cancel it. Okay. We found the phone. So when we talk about setting big, hairy, audacious goals, these are goals that make the hair at the back of your neck stand. If you write any goal, you go back home, those goals you set in December that you have updated in January, if you see it and it does not fit into this, cancel it, increase it. Like our president said, multiply it by 2, 10x it. Grant Cardone, I think, is one that wrote 10x rule. You know the secret of that thing? And I'll share it with the members of my staff when we're looking at the goals for the year. You know, the other thing as entrepreneurs is that you're always selling, right? For in life, you're always selling. What I'm doing here is selling. I'm trying to sell this idea to you that it works, right? So when you have your goals, you will also sell it to your people. I started with the management team. I started to sell the idea to them. Next, I went to the leadership team. Those are my heads of department. I first started with the managers, then the heads of department. Then lastly, I went to the people. But I put 1 week in between. Because when I spoke to the management, they will start talking to the rest. Leadership, the gist. Then when I started talking to the rest of the staff, I realized that they were already ready. They were prepared for me. Do you know what I also did? I made them read The Science of Getting Rich in January. I made them read The Science of Getting Rich. So, and I took them through all what we have talked about. Some of what we are talking about now. And when they read the book, when I started to talk to them, they are now at the point where they believe that anything is possible. Because the goal I set for them this year, they require that level of mind to follow me. You know, there's some goals that if you go and share with people, they can carry stone and change out of the place. So I prepared them very well. So I sold the idea to them. They believed it. And then you can see that the atmosphere in the place is different. Because now they see this is where we are going to. And now, why did I do that? And I asked my management team, I said, we had the goal last year, and we crossed the goal quite a number of times. I said, once we cover it consistently 1 week, what happens to you the next week? They said their motivation drops. Because I noticed it. Most times by the beginning. So because I know it, the next week, the weekend, I started shouting. Because I know the next thing is that I said, what if the goal we set last year was times 2 of the goal we actually set? Is it possible that you would have those episodes where your motivation dropped? They say probably not. Because if you are looking to make 10 million, for example, every day, every week, every day, and then in 1 week, you make 11, 12, 13, the following week, you relax. But if your goal was 20 million, and you made 10, 11, 12, 13, have you made your goal? The next week, what do? You go again. At the end of the year, you might maybe cross 20, maybe 10 times in 365 days. But if they calculate your cumulative sales, when your goal was 20 million, of course, it will be by far better than when it is 10 million. That's what we are talking about. Let your goal be the fire, permit my French, that lights your bomb every morning. That goal should be so much that every morning, and that's why it becomes easy if you practice savers. Because once you write the affirmation of these goals, it brings back to your mind. In fact, you are writing it, how you wasted your time yesterday will come to you. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm telling you from experience. The time you should have done something that you spent doing something else that of no value, when you are writing it, it will be telling you, so you want this, and you were doing, if you are doing that every day, will you not be more serious and sit up? So that's the point of this. So you must look at, and we have an example with us, $1 billion founders. Steve Jobs, many of us know the story of Steve Jobs was one that started Apple. He got fired, right? And then they brought him back. Do you know what happened to him when they fired him? He started Pixar. Pixar is an animated, all these cartoons. And then they made the first animated movie. Animation. The first time, the first one. So they had to bring him back. Because they realized that probably the success Apple enjoyed had nothing to do with all the people they put together, but the mindset of the founder. They took him out of the equation. They ran into trouble. They had to bring him back. And what did he do? He started looking at all the things that had no business. They had no business doing. Because he had the vision. They've diluted the vision with other things. All those units that had no business, he removed them. They went lean and they focused on what they wanted to do. That's why that is quote about the crazy. He says, people who are crazy enough to change the world are probably the people that will. You have to be crazy to set some of the audacious goals. But then, from those experiences, they did. Only 4 countries, I think 4 countries have successfully, as at the time I was checking, launched a rocket to space and returned and received it back. America, Russia, China, Elon Musk. Oh, Elon Musk is, it's not a country. Sorry. You get what I'm trying to say. But then, that guy believed very early, against what anybody told him, that he will put man. In fact, he wants to build a community. Yes, in space. In fact, it was 2 or 3 years ago, if you saw the story, billionaires started paying. It's as if maybe they just started train. Lagos to limit sound. Billionaires were paying to just go excursion to space and back. Because that man set that goal is a big, hairy, audacious goal. That when only 3 countries had done it, he said he will. In fact, he's going to go big. Those ones did it to just say they put their flag there. He wants to put a community there. Do you want to talk about the driverless cars? Why do you think he's the one doing it? The mindset. His mind, he has set it that whatever it is I choose in my mind to do, I will find a way to do it. He had the power of a compelling vision. It was a vision that lit his bomb every day. And then there's this thing we call reverse engineering success. I think there was a video, I'm not sure if it was shared. If I have not, I'll share it on group about Will Smith talking about when he was young and his father introduced him to a grandmaster of chess. And he asked him, how do you do it? He said he pictures in his mind where he wants the chess piece to be. So the chess piece is here, but he wants it there. Then he reverse engineer it. In his mind, he now works it back. It's here, but this is where I want it. How will you go? If I'm going from here and working it back, he now knows how to move the chess forward. And that's what we do. Yes, like the president said last year, you set your goals geometrically, even though you are working your way one step at a time. But the goal must be geometrical. That's what, so if the audacious is there, you now work it. That's where I'm going to. Well, let's now work it back. Some of us don't like mathematics, Abi. How do you say x plus this is this? Prove the way she's looking. She's one of those who say, this man, don't go there. I will not go there. What are characteristics of this big area of audacious goals? I've explained some of them. Like we all say, your goals should still be smart. So clear and focused. And it must be distinct. Billionaires. Now, yes, we say we are billionaires, generous billionaires. When you talk about it, when you say it to yourself, it must be specific. Like the year when we talk about we earn and we receive 2 billion naira yearly. It is 2 billion. It is what? Specific. If you want to measure it at the end of the year, did you make 2 billion? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Specific, must be clear and focused. We also, like I said, quantifiable metrics. Realistic, yet ambitious. There are some, and this is also relative to you. A lot of people will say SpaceX, what Elon Musk did was not realistic, right? Some people would have felt that way, but it's realistic because at the time he was saying it, countries had done it. What he wanted to do was not take it a step further. It's achievable, realistic, and then time-bound. Let's have defined timelines. And then, like I said earlier, you set your time. It has to be realistic what time you're giving. If you set it, I made 2 billion this year. At the end of the year, you've not made 2 billion. You don't fight and become frustrated and go back. Because one thing, if you check where you have moved significantly compared to the year before. And that is enough to celebrate, and then with that, move on to the following year. I decided to put this here against what I naturally do, but I feel I should put it there so that if we have people who still play around here, I will help you identify that you are here and you need to move away from here. Because the question is, why do most people think small? Are you going to use diesel to think big? Do you need petrol to think big? Are you charged to think big? Are we in a society when you start to think big, they will call you from FIRS that you just thought too big for yourself? Your tax is this amount. Will anybody ask you? So it doesn't cost us anything to actually think big. But then if it's so free, why is it that people still think small? Perhaps fear of failure and self-doubt. I've given you a story about that. There are people who don't like to fail. We train ourselves sometimes not to like to fail. You don't like to fail such that you become diligent, disciplined, so that you pass. But then we should still train, especially our children, that even when you fail, it's okay to fail if you learn from it. I don't believe to just say it's okay to fail. That's my own. It's okay to fail if you learn from it and you then take your lessons and ensure you don't fail again. When we're in school, we used to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and they abuse those who carry last. They don't do that anymore in schools, right? Do they still do that? They don't even post results. They just okay. Well, me, I have my own metrics for measuring their own first, second, third in the house because it's important that there should be that drive, not a negative or an unhealthy drive, but there's always that drive, and it's best to instill it when they are young. So sometimes some people fear so much to fail that they don't try. They don't want okay, like, and some people would have said we set the one I said last year. What happened to it? And because of that, decide not to set it again. Or self-doubt. And we teach this that you celebrate every win. Acknowledge and celebrate wins. That helps to clear self-doubt. That okay, that I'm going for is not, I've not gotten there. But look at the things I've done. Look at what I've achieved. Because that strengthens your faith. Then I also encourage, when we say the things we talk about, I want to wake up at 4, I want to wake up at 5, ensure you do that. Because when you do that, it feeds into your self-belief that Nami Duam. You understand? They talked about affirmation. I have the register. Gratitude register, I have it. I'm doing it. Those things are also wins. Because more than 80% of people don't even know or practice those things. So you celebrate those things. They feed into your faith. They stifle your self-doubt. One of the greatest impediments to achieving anything that we set out to do is doubt. If you doubt it, you most likely will not achieve it. There's some people like their comfort zones. They don't want to take risks. They like where they don't want more than that. Even for those of us that are on our way to our billions, we might be suffering from this. Might have achieved success, but then we become comfortable. And then you become complacent. Thank you. So comfort zones, I can eat when I want to eat. I'll sleep when I want to sleep. I want to go and watch cinema. I can pay for that, right? You forget that you can't afford to travel more than once every 2 years. That's not a comfortable place to be. One thing that clears this are your goals. Am I right? If your goals are audacious enough, you will not want to remain there. And then another thing about this place is that you suffered this in the past. You took a leap, you broke it, and you got to where you are. That thing wants to come and meet you again. Don't allow it. Do you understand what I'm saying? There was a period where you were comfortable, but then you heard something, you interacted with somebody, or you heard about someone's story, and you took a leap, and then you are now better than that point. But now, where you are now, you want to be comfortable again. Not what we do here. Then society's programming and cultural conditioning. Sometimes some of the things we do is because of how we're conditioned or programmed over time, or even by the society. We don't think about that here, but there are some people who believe that for you to be rich or to be billionaires, you have to be politicians. Some people believe that. And so, because they are not politicians, they don't think they can do it. But here we know that a man can, of his own will, think himself to be rich. And in a matter of time, he will. Is that not our mindset here? Any man, any woman can do that. Then impatience or short-term thinking. Some people are not patient for the goals. Like we've also learned here, that some goals you set, and then they come within a short term. But some goals are audacious, so audacious that you give it time. We've spoken about Elon Musk. It didn't take him 1 year to do that. Do you understand? So sometimes, because you are not patient, you then abandon the goal and go back to thinking small. We've talked about how do you shift, what are the shifts needed for billion dollar thinking. We've talked about neuroplasticity. We've talked about the ability of the brain to rewire itself and believe. And some of those things are here. First, you shatter every limiting beliefs. Anything that seeks to limit you, it's not the way you should think about personal development. You can grow out of almost any challenge. There are challenges going on in the business place, in the workplace. By growing personal development, you grow and leave it where it is. What bird actually perches on the eagle's back? Is it the raven? There's a bird. It's the only bird that can. It's a raven. Ravens will perch on the back and be pecking the eagle. How does the eagle get rid of the ravens? Does it do maneuver? It just starts to fly. It starts to go high. It keeps going. It gets to a point the raven can no longer breathe. It will fall off. So personal development is developing yourself, your mind, out of those problems. A lot of us will bear with me that there were things that used to worry you before. They no longer concern you. One of two things is because maybe your mind actually changed by reading or interaction, or your status has changed. One of the two. The easiest one, the fastest one is what? The mind. Because that one comes first. Practice gratitude. I'm not sure there will be any seminar I will not say gratitude. For me, I call it the game changer. Because when you are celebrating the little things, when you are grateful for everything around you, it creates a positive mindset. You have a positive feeling, positive spirit, such that you can begin to attract more things to be grateful for. Like our president said, what you appreciate, appreciate. Then visualize success. This audacious goal, what does it look like? What does it feel like? We talked about feeling is the secret. In fact, the goal is not so much of what you're saying, but how you feel. We want you to feel more. Most times we say a lot, we write a lot of affirmations without feeling it. What are the goals we are setting? If you're talking about $1 billion company, you're probably taking care of some problems in the world. Some of you might actually be taking off out of school children off the streets and getting them back into school. Have you started to think about it that? So you've already cleared maybe your area, all the children whose parents could not send their kids to school. You found about them and they're all in school. And maybe at the end of the first session, you go there to visit the children in the school. Can you imagine how those children will be excited and they will run outside to hug you and to play with you? You think about how does it feel? Do you understand? Or you've taken care of some people, widows in your family. There are widows in your family, their uncles have passed on, they have wives they left behind, and then you put them on your generous list, and then you put people that you are actually taking care of them, and you do that, and then there's not a function in your hometown or anywhere, and then you went there. Your pounded yam will be special. They will come and line up to greet you. Even the king of your town is there. They will flock you before the king. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You think about how does it feel? Everybody likes to be thanked, right? You like people to come around you and to be happy. What I've just painted, when you inserted yourself in it, how did you feel? It felt good. Like we say, let's add that to our routine in the morning. How does it feel to do this? How does it feel to do that? How does it feel? I've never traveled first class, but I've watched video of people in first class. Then I think about it. How does it feel? What I think about is how I'll just wake up. I can just tell my family, Friday, we can mention any country in the world and we are not bothered about visa. Do you understand? It's a feeling. Because I see our visa interview next week. Maybe that's why. But I'm thinking, why do I need? Why can't I just say, okay, call my travel agency. Please, I need a flight to anywhere on Friday. We'll be back on Sunday. Do you understand? Or, this is my friend in Canada. I've not seen him, or in UK. I've not seen him in a while. I'll just call him and say, are you free on Saturday? I'd like to have lunch with you on Saturday. Like, oh boy, you did town? Not yet. Then I fly in Saturday morning. I have lunch with him Saturday afternoon. Sunday, I'm in church in Lagos. Have you thought about it? I have thought about it. I can't wait to. Eh? Yes, that's what I'm using style to tell you without mentioning it. Apart from green passport, I have another color. You see? Do you get what I'm saying? How does it feel? Fine, right now we all flew to UK and back. Am I right?
Yes.
You can do that in your mind. And then you see how it feels. Then the next time you are doing the things you need to do, you know what you are working towards. And all I've done, if we continue to do all of this, we continue to reprogram our mind, reprogram our subconscious. So that when we start talking about these things, the subconscious takes it and starts to work towards it. By virtue of serendipity, things start to occur around us. We'll get to places like Mr. Dio was here and Mrs. Apampa was talking, and this person is doing, and then that's another thing, networking. I was in Ibadan yesterday, and the facilitator in Ibadan was talking about a 23-year-old lady that left UK, came back to Ibadan, and wanted to do something around events. She came to Lagos, learned with one of the top brands, and went back and said she wants to be doing bean cake. Bean cake is akara, right? Yes. Pancake. Oh, it's pancakes. Well, I thought it was bean cake. I was wondering why is she not saying akara? Just say akara. Oh, pancakes. And then she was back in UK and saw Mr. Tony Elumelu. Was saying, say Tony. I said, if I not see Tony Elumelu, I can't say Tony Elumelu. I have to say Mr. No, because I imagine myself meeting him. And then she met, I said, I know you. Oh, what do you do? I said, she makes pancakes. She's back in Nigeria. And Mr. Tony Elumelu said, I'm trying to convince my daughter to move back to the country. I want you guys to meet and start. He had a need. She has a need. There are different kinds of needs, but it meant the same to each person. So, as far as Mr. Tony Elumelu was concerned, they didn't have me. I'm gone. My mind is adding this story. It was not part of the story yesterday. As far as Mr. Tony Elumelu was concerned, this lady who was here and went back and is doing well can help me convince my daughter to come back. She will do well. That one is not the problem, but she needs to come back. She was looking for contacts, and they met each other. When they came back, she talked about different events they've had that the lady has been asked to supply pancakes, making a lot of money. A closed mouth is what? A closed destiny. Sometimes, really, we don't believe so much in what we are producing or the solutions we are providing. Because if you believe in solutions you are providing, and then you meet people that need it, you should not find it difficult to talk to them about it. That's our job, is to sell. We are always selling. But then her mind was at the level where she can walk up to him and have a conversation. Probably because she was in UK before and the way they think there is different. It was easy for them to have a conversation because they were also in UK where they might be able to see one-on-one. Probably if they were here, it might not be possible. So we also need to be able to travel to those places to have those conversations. So I try to just think different parts because so you can see that even in getting to that point, there were other things that happened in our life that made that point possible. But personal development can even get us to those places. It's like the cheat code to jump so many steps. I started, my conversation today was about fixed and growth mindset. So I might not say so much, I talked about it, but look at what I wrote here. A fixed mindset believes that its intelligence and skills are already predetermined. So when it can no longer carry him, that's the end. While growth mindset embraces challenges and sees failures as opportunities to improve. Growth mindset believes that its intelligence and skills can be improved upon, as opposed to fixed mindset. What are the benefits of having a growth mindset? It increases your resilience and adaptability. It means that nothing phases you. You have a challenge, you find a way to do it better. There's a setback, you find another way to do it. So you have resilience. You won't see failure and just go back. Even if you have a setback, you come back. Setback just goes to prepare you for what? A comeback. You are very adaptable. You can change. Like, for example, my story is I realized that prior to getting to medical school, once I hear it in class, and it's something you have to figure out, I'm fine. But when I got to medical school and I failed my first test, I realized that to pass this in this medical school is not just trying to figure out, because they're not figuring out anything. They have written it the way it is. The nerve, it passes here, it crosses at this point, goes to the back, and comes back. It is like that. They are not saying find another way the nerve will get you. It is like that. Your ability to read it, have that retentive memory, and when you need it, bring it back. That's the way to go. I discovered it then. So I realized that unlike before, once they teach it in class, and I write short notes, and I say, no, this one,